Greetings of the day, students. On behalf of Radhika Classes, I am here to share with you some important questions which are expected to be asked in your board examination that is approaching in March 2025 for the subject Spcc. Let us see some of the 2-marker questions first chapter wise. Your section C. From chapter number 1, we have our first question as mention 2 functions of a bank. Second question is regarding which issues are complaints letters written to the banks. Our third question and the last question from chapter number 1 is list the types of request letters written to the bank. Now moving ahead with CC chapter number 2. Our first question is to whom is the correspondence with local organization included? Our next question is which organization provide public utility services? Our next question is which organization are included in local government organizations? Our next and the last question from CC chapter number 2 we have is from where is the final aids received by the correspondent or departmental providing public utility services. Next, moving ahead with chapter number 3, CC chapter number 3, first question is upon which matters is the selection of the employees dependent. This is most of the important question to be asked in your board examination. Next, moving ahead with chapter number 5, we have our one question that is what is e-communication or electronic communication. We have only one question that is important from our chapter number 5. Moving ahead with chapter number 6, that is for what matters is a presentation generally required. This is also one of the most important question to be asked in your board examination. Now moving ahead with SP part chapter number 1. First question is what is offer for sale? Our next question is state the effects of the forfeiture of share. This is also one of the most important question to be repeatedly asked in your board examination. Our next question is state the classification of applicants as per SEBI guidelines. Next, moving ahead with SP chapter number 2, we have our first question as which contents should be filled up in the share transfer form. Next, moving ahead with SP chapter number 3, we have only one question and that question is what is a debenture? Share the types of debenture. This question is also repeatedly asked in your board examination. You should prepare it very well. Next question we have that is from SP chapter number 5 is who can be appointed as a director? Our next question is state the qualification of the chairperson. One of the most important question from the point of view of your examinations. Moving ahead with SP chapter number 6, we have our first question as what is annual general meeting? That is also one of the most important question. Here we complete with our 2-marker questions and moving ahead with section D and 3-marker questions. From SP chapter number 1, we have our first question as write a note on renunciation of rights. અહીંથી ફરીથી કરું SP. Here we complete with our 2-marker questions and moving ahead with your 3-marker questions for section D. First question for SP chapter number 1 we have that is write a note on remuneration of the right shares. Our next question is state the duties of the company secretary regarding share allotment. Our third question and the last question from SP chapter number 1 that is write a note on lien of shares. All the 3 questions are very important. Do not forget to do for your examinations. Next, moving ahead with SP chapter number 2 we have our first question as explain the circumstances for share transmission. Difference between share transfer and share transmission. You do not have to forget to write point of difference in the differences. Moving ahead with SP chapter number 3 and our first question is explain the types of debenture. Again this is one of the most important question repeatedly asked in your board examination. Our last question and the most important question is difference between shares and debentures. Moving ahead with SP chapter number 4, first question is difference between member and shareholder. Point of difference should not be forgotten by you. Next question is a person may be a member but not be a shareholder. Explain. Our next question is who can acquire membership in a company. Now moving ahead with SP chapter number 4, we have our first question as a person may be a shareholder but not be a member. Explain. Moving ahead with SP chapter number 5, we have our first question as state the qualification and disqualifications of a managing director. Our next question is in which circumstances is the director to be retired. Now moving ahead with SP chapter number 6, we have our first question as what is proxy, what are its provision in the company law. Our next question is which details are to be included in the minutes book, which is one of the most important question again from the point of view of your examinations. Next is difference between special and ordinary resolution. Moving ahead with SP chapter number 7, we have our first question as what are the modes of liquidation of a company. And our next question is discuss the circumstances for compulsory liquidation by tribunal. One of the most important question. Here we complete with our 3-marker questions and moving ahead with our 4-marker questions, that is your section E. First question from CC chapter number 1, we have explained in detail about e-auction. Our next question is what are the points considered while writing an email. This is also one of the most important question. Moving ahead with SP chapter number 1 directly, our first question is distinguish between irregular and illegal allotment of shares. One of again most important question to be asked from the point of view of our examinations. Next, that is write a note on share dividend. Our next question is under what circumstances can share allotment be considered irregular. Our next question from SP chapter number 2 we have, that is what are the duties of secretary for the share transfer, one of the most important duties to be asked in the examination. Our next and the last question from SP chapter number 2 we have explained the importance of share transfer. From SP chapter number 4 moving ahead we have only one question, that is explain the methods of becoming a member. Next, moving ahead with SP chapter number 5, we have one difference, that is difference between managing director and director. Next question is in which circumstances is the director to be retired. Our next question is from SP chapter number 5, explain the types of directors. Next, from the SP chapter number 6, we have, that is what is ordinary resolution, state its objectives. Any six objectives are majorly asked for you. Next, that is SP chapter number 7, we have explained the circumstances for the voluntary liquidation. Here we complete with our 4-marker questions. If you have any doubt or queries, do contact us in the comment section. If you liked our content, do like, share and subscribe. Come out with flying colors. All the very best. Thank you.